Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today we're going to talk about the Humble Sock. Stay tuned. If I had to pack really light and I can only take one article of clothing with me as an extra, it would be a pair of socks. Next to that, of course, probably a pair of underwear and then an extra shirt, pants, and so forth. But one of the things you can carry even in a small kit, which I have added into this haversack kit, which I demonstrated in our last video, is just a pair of wool socks. And these, you want them the highest content of wool that you can get. I believe these are like 80% wool. But they have a lot of uses, and you want to make sure you get the thick ones that are, made for boots, so that they come high enough above your boots that they're not rolling down in. And you can, in some cases, roll them over the top of your boots to help keep them from sliding down and bunching up as you walk. But I've had these socks for quite a few years. I have a lot of wool socks. But in a winter environment like we're in today, and it's pretty chilly, the temperature's probably only in the mid-teens. A pair of socks like this is just super important for your feet. But there's some other uses too that we're going to talk about. And of course, in any kind of a minimalistic approach where you're really trying to keep the weight down and you want to have the ability to maximize the usefulness of every item, keeping in mind that every item that you carry should have at least 3 different uses. The sock is one of those things that has so many uses that it's impossible to list them all on a video of this length, and I'm sure there's a lot of other ideas. So if any of you have comments that you would like to leave about socks and their additional uses, please leave them in the comments section below, and we'd appreciate that and our whole community here at Waypoint Survival. So the first thing that you can use socks for, and I'm sure a lot of people have thought of this, but they make a great pair of improvised mittens. And just slide them on your hands and keep your hands warm. If you don't have any mittens, an extra pair can go a long way to keeping your hands toasty warm. When you're out in a winter environment, if they just get chilled or cold, just a great extra use for socks. Use number 2. As a storage bag for nuts and wild edibles, and just make a knot in the top like this, and it will help store them securely. If you're out foraging for your wild nuts and berries, any kind of edibles that you wish, I mean, this is just a great storage item. And in here I just have several of these nuts that I've stored in here, and they'll keep for a really long time. So if you're in a long-term survival situation and need an extra storage pouch, you can use a sock. This also makes a great stuff sack. So for anything you want to pack on a trip, and let's say you're packing articles of clothing, extra t-shirt, underwear, whatever, just use your socks and stuff them full of your other clothes, and it makes a great item that you can carry just as a small stuff sack. And of course, they're pretty stretchy. You can use them for different things as well. When you go to tie it off, just a simple overhand knot, pull it tight, and there you have it. The third thing that you can use your sock for is either filled with nuts like this, or you could fill it with stones, is a blunt trauma device. So if you had to protect yourself from an intruder, either 2-legged or 4-legged, but you could actually swing this with quite a bit of force, and that would create quite an impact if you had to use it, and just blunt trauma, no sharp points. And so this would actually be a fairly effective thing to use if you just felt like you need some added protection. And you could just always put some rocks just down in the bottom, and it'll stretch out pretty far when you swing it, so you can get a pretty good amount of leverage. You come around and use that, of course, against, like I said, any type of predator. Obviously you wouldn't want to use it against a bear or a cougar, but for smaller animals and other types of human predators, it might work pretty well, and be a thing that you would want to keep handy at your side when you go to bed or whatever. Just something to remember. Alright, the next item, which would be item number 4 if you're counting and keeping track, is you can use a sock as an elastic tie. Obviously they're pretty stretchy, and let's say you want to bind some sticks together. Perhaps you want to use it for something like the top of a TP frame, or to build a tripod. You can use your sock at the top And if you don't have any extra cordage or material like that, again, you just go around in a simple overhand knot and stretch it out, pull it tight as much as you want, and there you have it. Something to hold a bundle together perhaps, or as if you had a tripod, you could stretch it out, and that will hold the top together for roasting over a fire, etc. Item number 5 that you can use these for. Sometimes when you're walking around in the snow and ice like this, it gets pretty slippery, and so it's really nice to have socks. You can slip them over top of your boots for extra traction. So we just get in here and we pull them on, and I'll get back to you when I get that done and show you what it looks like. Alright, so here we have it. Just pull them on over top of the boot, and as you can see, you're not going to get them all the way on. Try to put the packed part of the sock where it bunches up under your step here, where the shoe dives in there under your arch, and that's how you do it. And of course, what's really great about this is the wool fibers grip the snow and actually give you a lot more traction. So this is a very useful tip that, again, wool socks, just an excellent item to have with you. So let's try these out by walking up this slope, the way these socks are put on the boots here. And do remember that you're not going to wear these over like a lot of rocks and stumps and logs. This is mostly for snow and ice, because obviously if you wear them like this, you're going to wear them out really fast. But for a temporary traction aid, pretty hard to beat. Works really well. No slipping at all, both uphill and downhill. The next item you can use this for, which would be item number 6, you've got an extra pair of just thin insulated like Under Armour type thermals, and a sock, a wool sock of course. And what you can do is you can stuff it inside of the sock. Takes a little bit of doing, but not impossible, of course. You want to stuff it in there real good. Okay, get that stuffed in there like that. Kind of even out the lumps a little bit, and you can tie this end off or not. But what this does is it solves one of the issues that we have sometimes when we're out in the wilderness as to how to lay our head down. Well, this can make a great neck roll. So just a clean sock with something stuffed inside of it. I mean, you could use grass or leaves or you know, other debris you find. Cattail fluff would be just fine. Stuff it in your sock and use it as a pillow. We're going to sleep at night. And again, just an extra, you know, neck pillow, little headrest to keep your head off the ground and to help you sleep a little more comfortably when you're in a survival situation. Okay, the next item that you might find interesting is you can use this for toilet paper. Now, I know it's a little rough and you think, oh, that's kind of gross. And yeah, a little bit. But I tell you, if you're out in the wilderness and you just have to go, which happens, it's part of the human experience, and you can't find any dry leaves, or it's like today, you're in a winter situation and you're in a place where you got to do your business, you know, using this can work quite well. And you can rinse it out later, find a creek or a stream or something, and of course you want to wash out in the creek or stream because you want to try not to contaminate it, but you could pour water over it, or you could do all kinds of things to, you know, scrub it and rinse it out later, and try to maintain some hygiene when you're out in the wilderness. Another use for this as a pre-filter. We've got some water here, it's kind of nasty, and we want to make sure that we filter as much of the turbidity out of it as possible. We just take our sock, go right over top, pull it down, and now we have, kind of tuck that in like this, make a bit of a hole. Now we have a pre-filter for our water. So we just put it down in here and let the water flow through, and you can place it either upstream or downstream depending on how dirty the water is. But of course, this is going to get your sock soaking wet. But then once you have it filled up, then you know, obviously pick it up and you can take it and boil it. And there we have another use for our survival sock. Another great use for a sock in a survival situation is you can take it and use it as an improvised tourniquet. You could put two of them together if you needed one for, say, a thigh or someone with really large arms, but just put a simple overhand knot in it. And of course it's easier to do this on another person than yourself, so just for demonstration purposes I'm just going to use my wrist here. But kind of pull it tight, of course. You have that knot there. And then of course you can use a stick or something else for a windlass. And slide it up in there. And like I said, again, this is for demonstration purposes. I would not put a tourniquet on my wrist. But anyway, you get the idea. And then of course you can twist it and turn it. And once you get it tightened down, then you could either use duct tape or some other kind of lashing to hold this together. Or you could, if your stick doesn't snap, you could take even part of the sock itself and lash it around the stick to hold it in place. But that's just a simple demonstration of how you can use a sock for a tourniquet in a survival situation. And last but not least, if you're in a survival situation and you're wounded, you have an extra sock with you, you can simply take it and fold it. Of course, you'll want it to be clean, but fold it 3 or 4 times, put it on top of the wound, and then either duct tape or tie it on with something to help hold that down. You can use it just for pressure, for a compress, or anything like that. If you definitely want to staunch the blood flow and keep pressure on something, a sock is best. Of course, if it's cotton for that sort of thing, cotton material, more absorbent and all of that. Also, of course, a cotton sock can be used for the cotton material for char cloth and other things. But I think in the winter, generally speaking, my extra pair of socks is going to be wool. But again, in the summer, whatever, you carry extra pair of cotton socks, and that will do fine as well. So, another great tip for your socks. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure and check out the links in the description box below, and don't forget to press that bell button to stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.